Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here in our second day here at my MasterCard event in the South Summit frame. I am Montserrat Herrera, Marketing and Communications Director in Spain and Portugal for MasterCard. I'm super pleased to be here and happy to be joined by Marta Echarri, Country Manager for N26, also Spain and Portugal. And we're going to speak about a super relevant topic, which is UX is king. So before going into this topic, I would like to read your biography to our audience so they know you better. You are the General Manager for Spain and Portugal with more than 15 years of experience in international banking. She joined N26 from Lombard Odier, where she was Senior Vice President, and also held senior positions in JP Morgan's Asset Division in New York and also in Madrid. She studied International Business Administration at the ICADE in Madrid and in the University of Boston, and also has executive programs in digital transformation at the Instituto Empresa and ISI. Super long trajectory. Thank you for being here, Marta.
Thanks for having me.
So back some months ago, we were thinking who would be the best person to be our speaker for the UX is King. And our mind take us to N26. So that's why we decided to invite you here, and we are super pleased to have you here. Today, everyone knows that user experience is super relevant, and all the banks are evolving into our much more customer-centric service. So I would like to share with you a very brief story about mine. I am Mexican, so when I got here 4 years ago, I had tons of paperwork to do, such as driver's license, card ID, and so on. And I needed my bank account. So coming from MasterCard, I knew that I wanted something super simple, super friendly, and secure. And I just wanted to share you, which is my first card, actually. And this is, for real, my very first card that I got.
This makes me very happy, very, very happy.
And actually, it's my day-to-day card. So I love it, and I am super 100% customer satisfied. So it takes me back to the UX. So before going into this topic, I would like you to share with all our audience what is N26 and what do you do?
Sure. So first of all, thanks for being our client. That makes me really happy that people have a good experience with us, because that's what we do, right?
Yeah.
N26 is Europe's largest digital bank, where, as you were saying, we are 100% mobile. We were founded back in 2013 with a mission and the vision of actually facilitating the banking world to everyone, right? Because it's somehow frustrating for all of us to be dealing with the rigid industry and the rigid traditional banking that surrounds us. So at this point, N26 has 1,500 employees. We actually have 500 open roles at this point in many of our offices. So for everyone who's looking for a job, please look at us. We're growing at a very fast pace, which is very exciting for us and for the team. And then in terms of numbers, just to give you a little bit of background on our numbers, we have raised in total $800 million in different rounds of financing. We're currently raising our E round. And our valuation is currently, so in our last round, it's 3.5 billion. That, to put everyone in context here, that's from Spain. It's a little bit actually larger than what Bankinter is, the Spanish bank that's listed. So we're a big guy. We're a monster, let's say. And the pace of growth that we've been experiencing in these last 6 years that we've been present globally, and in these 3 years that we've been present in Spain, has been double-digit and really exponential growth. So we can say that we hack exponential growth at its best.
Amazing. Anything else you want to share with us in terms of evolution from N26 since when it was founded here, and then today, where are you now?
We've come a long way. It's been, as I was saying before, we were founded in 2013. Our two founders are both from Austria, and really their mission was to, and this is important, right? Their mission was to build the bank that the world loves to use. That's a big sentence. That's a big statement. And that evolution has been very satisfactory to this point, because we now have 7 million clients globally. So that's really a source of pride for them. They're of course currently our co-CEOs, these two founders. And N26 has succeeded not only in terms of growth, but also in terms of product development. There's this inseparable triangle that we always have together with our product guys, which is technology, UX, and product management, and that always goes together. So for us, I'd say that that's part of our success. As part of our success, it is to be simple, and that ties with the title of this chat, which is UX is king, right? Being simple is what really the world likes, and that's what really our value proposition encourages on and fosters.
Great, and you were mentioning that the three of key for you are technology, product, and UX. So it takes me back to UX. From your point of view, what would you think that it's a key to deliver a great user experience to consumers? What would you be, what you're saying?
I'd say we listen. We listen all the time. We have this UX labs that we have bi-weekly in which all the employees of the company are welcome. And as we like to say, family, friends, and fools, right? Because we like to put ourselves in the shoes of those people to see, in the shoes of you, right? In your shoes, to see what you're looking for in a bank. The industry is really rigid. Retail banking is extremely outdated, I find. The design that traditional banks have is just old school. The IT legacy that most of the traditional banks have is just huge, right, which makes them have a very heavy cost structure. So we are exactly trying to do the opposites. Simplicity is one of our core values. We like to provide a second-to-none experience to the user. And this is why we have to listen. So in these UX bi-weekly labs, what we do is understand the interaction that each one of our clients have with their app. How easy it is to use us versus our competitors. And we like to say that, and actually what our clients say about us is that their experience with us is really, really easy. So that's something that we feel super proud about.
I am from marketing, and I am also a customer, so I can say for sure what you were saying. So you were mentioning about simplicity, also listening to consumers. So what else would you say that differentiates you among your other competitors?
Yeah, we've got. I'd be super specific on the things that we do. Latest initiatives that N26 users eventually have at the palm of their hands. We can open an account in 8 minutes, as you were saying, right? You come from Mexico. Indeed. It's happened to most of us now that many of us are digital nomads. We travel around and we like things. We like things fast. We like to say about ourselves that we are easier, we're faster, and we're cheaper. And this is super important. On the easier side, which is what takes me to UX, 3 things that our app would be somehow different from the other apps and, of course, from the other banks. First of all, the fact that you can open an account in 8 minutes. We are pioneers in this. I still remember Francisco González from BBVA actually mentioning us. This is a fun fact. And he used to talk about a German bank that was disrupting the famous Know Your Customer procedure, which is a regulated procedure in order to open an account. Everyone here in finance is aware of this, and everyone who has opened an account is aware of this, because before you used to go to a branch and potentially say that you are who you are and that your documentation shows who you are. We managed to disrupt this process, and we're able to do this either through photo or through video. And this is why the 8 minutes end-to-end is what you take to open an account with us. So that's really spectacular, and that's something that we're very proud of. Second thing, we've got this feature that's really drag and drop, where you can actually move your money from your main account to your sub-account, to what we call our spaces, which are really virtual sub-accounts, literally dragging and dropping, right? And the money moves instantly. It's a live money movement. And that I find fascinating, to be honest. And that was one of the things that our product development and our design development learned in one of these UX bi-weekly labs. The fact that you didn't want to do like 300 clicks to move money from one place to another. It's just like drag and drop, and it's done. And then the third thing, third initiative that I think is super cool in our app is split the bill. So UX is also about the emotional attachment that you have with your client. We're a bank, right? But it's not about transaction, it's about emotion. If you think about, you travel, what you remember about your latest trip is eventually not an image, it's a memory. It's something that got to your heart. We like to be memorable, and I always explain this example when I'm normally the person that buys the birthday gifts for like all my friends, and then people need to pay you back, right?
To pay you.
That frustration that you eventually get when you seem like you're chasing everyone, right? Like you owe me money, and it's
their friends,
exactly
not paying, yeah.
And of course, there's always these 1-2 friends that never pay you back.
Yeah.
So in order to just get rid of that frustration of that, like chasing people, split the bill allows you to pay the gift and then eventually split that gift between not only N26 users that could be your friends, but also any other user from any other bank. So that person would get a notification, instant notification, Marta just bought this gift, please pay her back, whatever. So when I'm talking about this emotional link, and I find this is somehow inspirational or aspirational even, it's sometimes just about getting rid of that emotion, of that frustration of chasing people. So we help that through functionality. And in this case, we help that through split the bill. So this is what really changes that simple transaction to an emotion, in which this case would be avoiding that frustration.
I would say you're connecting people through simplicity, which is super relevant for us. Besides this, is there anything you would like to add in terms of groundbreaking initiatives, something super visible and memorable for you that you've done, which you want to share with us?
Yeah, we're disrupting the banking industry. We like to say that we're setting the new standards of banking. Again, super aspirational, and most of the N26 team is here. So in our day-to-day lives, we like to think that we are changing the way that people bank. And that's our vision, right? Our vision is to build the world, to build a bank that the world likes to use. So, that's like a very abstract sentence eventually, but on your day-to-day, what we try to focus on is delivering a great experience. And I'd say we've got the best of the two worlds. We are a fintech, so technology is at the core of what we do. Right. Clearly, we've got, out of our 1,500 employees, the majority of those would be, of course, developers, right? It's like tech people, like super technical profiles. So being a fintech, we've got the best of those two worlds. The tech, and the tech at its core, but also, in terms of security, we are a fully licensed bank. That means that we've got a license in Germany, and that means that all our clients are covered by the deposit scheme. So in the case, in the very remote case that something happened to N26 and eventually, we went bust, all our clients are covered. So when you think about it and you say, okay, simplicity, they're simpler, they're cheaper, that's very important, particularly for Spain, where this is a country where price sensitivity for fees on banks is really, really key. That's what at the end of the day gives an interesting value proposition for our customers.
Right, agree, totally agree. And based on this, what would be your recommendation to other banks, and also your point of view on how is it going to evolve towards the future, this relation between banks and customers? How should it evolve? Yeah.
I'd be too pretentious if I was to recommend anything to any banks, because that's too much. That's too big of a shoe for me. But I guess that now traditional players and incumbents are playing on the same field. For the traditional banks, they clearly feel somehow threatened by the new players, right. And we're not that new anymore. But reality is that the experience with us is really better. Right. The experience with us is cheaper, particularly because of what I was saying before, because of our cost structure, in which we don't have huge IT legacy, and we don't have branches. We're branchless. when I say that we open an account in 8 minutes, it's paperless. You don't have to go anywhere. You can do this from the subway or from your sofa. So I really think that traditional banks feel somehow threatened by us, particularly in the digital payments sector, in the digital payments vertical, let's say.
Agreed.
That I think is something that we master. And I guess it's great to be in a playground where new people and incumbents are just sharing their knowledge, and we like to say that we're front runners. So that's something you have to wear with pride. Being a front runner is not easy.
Totally agree. We have 5 minutes, so I would like to see if anyone from our audience would like to ask a question to Marta. No? Yeah. Thank you. Hope we can hear you with a mask on.
Hope so too.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Pleasure to be here listening to you, Marta. My name is Chus. I'm working in Orange Bank as head of payments. And I would like to know, what do you think, or what would be the role of operations from your point of view? In what sense? Because you were saying that product development and being very close to customers, listening to them, what are their needs and how do you want to offer them. This is key for you as a strategy, and this is one of the reasons why you are ahead of the rest of the banks. But what is the role for you of the after lunch or the after, I don't know how to say that, but just after the commercial lunch is done, after the conception or the creation of the product is, what are the next steps for you in order to assure that your product is well developed?
Really the backstaging that operations is in charge of.
Correct. And how do you assure the service? So what is this role for you?
Yeah. So that's a great question. The structure that we have versus a traditional bank is really different. Indeed, the operations team is actually leaner than at a traditional bank, right? That's a reality. We've got less people than a traditional bank would have. However, it's key particularly for the customer support, I'd say, which is of course part of that, COO lead, our Chief Operating Officer, Adrian, who actually comes from Dropbox. Adrian joined us recently, and her background is all technology companies. She comes from Dropbox and then Google. She's leading these amazing team of customer service, which gives service to a customer 7 days a week, right? And that's, again, another advantage of our value proposition. You can talk to your bank whenever you want to. Most of us like to be self-sufficient, so the fact that we interact with our phone and eventually solve many of the financial problems that we like to solve on a daily basis by ourselves is something that most of us would like. However, in case you need help, you've got customer service support 7 days a week from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. These queuing on the branch and these the banker not remember your name anymore because no banker remember any of the names now, that's over. So I'd say that on the operations team, customer service would be clearly the most important team. Of course, the rest of the backstaging is something that that's also key because the bank needs to function. However, in there, we've got many initiatives that help us through artificial intelligence. So I'll give you an example on how operations is leaner and is better and is optimized. We're able to detect fraud via different conduct patterns from fraudsters. So apparently, if you're a fraudster, you behave the same way, right? You do ABC. So we're able to predict that if you do ABC, you'd eventually be a fraudster, and the typical thing is I'm selling you a dishwasher. You buy it, you finalize the transaction, then the dishwasher never gets there, right? That's fraud. So we've got many flags that if they happen at the same time, we can assume that it's going to end in fraud, and that's AI. So the way that our operations team is, or the reason why our operations team is leaner, it goes back again to that tech core that we're based on. which I find fascinating. Every time I talk to like BizOps, I'm just amazed by the type of things that they're able to raise through the use of tech.
Great. It seems that we are running out of time, but I can assure that you are top-notch on this topic. UX the king. For sure, you had to be here. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone, for being here and for following us via digital. So thank you, Marta. I'm happy to be here. Thank you.